Yeah. Brassy girls everywhere. Titty ass hands in the air. Somebody over here. Shaking for the man of the year. Man of the year.
Oh man, these dudes never gonna quit, bro. Ubisoft. Another year, another release, another downgrade. This time around, Tom Clancy's Ghost Wildlands. No, Ghost Recon Wildlands. Excuse me. What's good, people? Jimmy Bones here, going over, I guess, the latest downgrade from the one and only Ubisoft, king of the downgrade. A lot of people you could put in that hat, but they definitely take that spot. We've seen it with a bunch of Assassin's Creeds, even back on last gen with all of the cinematic trailers, gameplay trailers, and then you get the final game. The game looks good, but it looks nowhere near what they first showed you as a first impressions as a first E3 trailer, shit like that. Obviously, we all seen what happened with the Division. What am I saying? The Division, as well as Watch Dogs. I was thinking with Watch Dogs, the first one. Watch Dogs 2 didn't really have that big of a downgrade because they didn't really show too much off graphically from Watch Dogs 2. But the first Watch Dogs, of course, everyone got bit for that. Like, highest amount of pre-orders. Got the final game, and the game wasn't even that good. Not only was it just not graphically great, but Watch Dogs 2 story wasn't all that great. Gameplay, at least driving, was extremely clunky. Stay away from Ubisoft launches, at least not day one, but at least until you see some reviews. Ubisoft usually don't put out day one reviews or even early reviews like a week ahead of time, 6 days ahead of time, a day ahead of time. But most of their games that they show off that look great don't end up looking great by the end. There's a few that in the past have kind of met that mark, but it kind of started right after, I guess, the hype of Assassin's Creed, excuse me. How do you get those mixed up? Kind of after the hype of Assassin's Creed, that they kind of took their foot off the gas and then started releasing nice ass gameplay trailers and cinematic trailers and whatnot, trying to feed you that that's what you're gonna get in the final game. You get the final game, it's nothing like that. Like, I know Far Cry 3 and Far Cry 4 Far Cry 3 and Blood Dragon, at least on the 360, looked great from a trailer, and then the final game was great as well. Far Cry 4 looked very, very good, but the downgrade wasn't as drastic as, say, a Division or Watch Dogs, the first one. And the Watch Dogs one, that thing was just terrible. Like, from comparison from first impressions to the last, final product, when it went gold and all that, two completely different games, you could argue. Same with the Division. Like, there was whole levels of detail and whole gameplay traits that were completely gone. Like, when you shoot windows, you shoot a car, whatever, when you go alongside a car and you push it and you push it close or whatever, and Buddy would do a whole lot of different animations, just basically complete false advertising, because for a lot of stuff that wasn't in the game. I wouldn't say at the same level as a No Man's Sky, which definitely takes the cake for the worst bait and switch ever, more than Metal Gear Solid 2. That's just more of a story gameplay type thing. But No Man's Sky, of course, half of that game that they showed was just not there day one. Ubisoft's kind of like that, but it's graphically for the most part, and then they have a lot of issues with actually performing the gameplay detail that they show off, because at least for now, people are more wary of Ubisoft ever since at least Watch Dogs. Definitely since Watch Dogs, because everyone paid that game a lot of attention. And then basically when it came out, everyone was like, this is like a $40 game at max, maybe a steep discount, $50 sort of thing. Kind of like the Destiny situation, bait and switch. You're going to get this great, amazing game. But the problem with Destiny wasn't graphically, but story-wise and content-wise. There wasn't a lot to go with Destiny, but that's a whole nother thing with Destiny 2. Which is going to be coming out within probably the next year and a half. We might get an E3 trailer for Destiny 2. I think Destiny 2 is going to be a much better game than the first time around, as Watch Dogs 2 is a much better game story-wise and content-wise compared to the first game. Graphically, it's pretty much the same. Ubisoft like to advance their games a lot and kind of put out that product that you saw for the first game from the first trailer with the sequel. As I said, Watch Dogs 2. I believe the Division 2 is going to be much greater. I believe that, if they do more sequels to Watch Dogs, they're going to increase more and more. But Assassin's Creed, of course, is on the downslide. That, can fall by the wayside, definitely. And then Ghost Recon Wildlands, which, is dropping next month. The open beta's out right now, or the open beta's out tomorrow, excuse me. Closed beta came out. A bunch of gameplay for that beta, and then you can just see the visual downgrade, as well as, you know, a lot of attention to detail downgrades from certain animations and whatnot, kind of like the Division syndrome. So I'm really excited for this beta. I'll be in there, and then I'll, you know, evaluate it for myself. I mean, I pretty much know what I'm getting into with the downgrades and all that, but that sort of thing is, you know, maybe it's a little bit less enhanced from YouTube, but in person it's not going to be head over heels. Like, it's not, the first trailer they showed for Ghost Recon Wildlands, which is playing in the background now, is not going to be anywhere near what you're going to get in the final game. And that's just Ubisoft downgrading yet another game. I don't know if they're ever going to change their ways. I don't know if they ever have to, because their games are still selling like hotcakes, I believe, and that's why they kind of can get away with it. But another year, another downgrade. Ubisoft, get your shit together. Jimmy Bones here. Comment, like, share, subscribe. You know, comment a bunch of other games that you think have been downgraded. I could go on about this shit all day, but it is what it is. Ubisoft, change your ways. Pull a Rockstar, pull a Naughty Dog, where the game looks better by the end of it. I'm out.